Welcome back to part 2 here for the All Access people in the interview with Cyndie Lepori on dolphins, dolphin consciousness, manifesting, and the power of connecting to your highest divine source. Which is what dolphins are so good at. They are so multidimensional. And in Cyndie's book, she describes about it. She's co-authored in a best-selling book. As I mentioned before, you can also get her free access to the YouTube and amazing story that Cyndie told us in the last segment. So please be sure to listen to it about her communicating with dolphins and the dolphins, she likes, proof in the pudding. The dolphins tell her things, and then it's either on camera or it's printed in the news later on. So I will be asking her a couple more stories like that in this segment. I will also ask her to guide us through a 5-minute healing session she said she'll do for us so that we can experience something, close our eyes, and really dive into setting up that inner channel. And expand it from wherever we're at. As great as you are, become greater and opening to the source. So Cyndie, thank you very much for being back here for part 2.
Thank you. I'm
so
excited.
Yeah. So, I want to get going with maybe a story. I know that stories are the funnest things to listen to. They're the most demonstrative about what is possible. Do you have maybe any other stories about what dolphins communicated to you, and then maybe where something happened that also has proof in the pudding?
I was sitting here trying to think of some of my dolphin stories. I've got so many because I lived with them for 5 years on the sailboat, but I have literally had them take me out of time and space. I was in the middle of the water. We were swimming off of Navarre. As a matter of fact, I've got a pod of wild dolphins that I swim with off of Navarre. And my partner was on the beach. He was Italian, so he was a little excitable. But I was taking him to swim with the dolphins for the first time. So he was like a foot behind me. The dolphins were doing figure eights in between us. And we were out there and we were playing with the dolphins and everything was well, fine and good. And then all of a sudden I realized in the space of a second, I turned around and he was gone.
Oh my God.
And I looked and he was on the beach. There's no way he could have possibly swam all the way to the beach in that amount of time. So the dolphins are all around me, so I'm not leaving. I'm absolutely not leaving. I've got my dolphins there.
Right.
We're happy. He's scraping his legs like he's got a jellyfish or something stupid. And I figured he was on his own. So all of a sudden, I can see him. He's jumping up and down. He's waving his hands, but he's Italian. So I figured, he's just being excitable. And the dolphins all disappeared.
Oh no.
And everything got very still and quiet. And I'm just hanging out, doing what I do because I'm a mermaid. I'm going to be in the water.
I can see the green in your hair still. I can see the color.
Right. So in a few minutes, here comes the dolphins back. They're swimming figure eights around me. We're doing everything. And they start leading me back to shore, getting closer and closer to shore. So I know in that moment, I'm asking them and they're going, well, it's time for you to get out now. You've been in long enough. So I'm swimming to shore and I get back to the beach and my partner goes, where were you? And I said, what do you mean? I was in the water. I was like 100 yards offshore. He goes, no, you weren't. I couldn't see you.
Oh my God.
And I said, well, it was a day when the Gulf was flat.
Oh.
And he said, well, what about the shark? And I was, what shark? And he goes, well, I couldn't see you and the dolphins were fighting with the shark out there. And I was really worried and I was jumping up and down, waving my hands, trying to get you to come in. And it was like, well, you're Italian. I just thought you were excitable. He goes, no. He said, that was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. He said, you disappeared for 15 minutes. So I know the dolphins took me out of time and space right then.
Really?
They're very multidimensional.
Wow.
And his experience, he said he was in the middle of jellyfish everywhere out there. I was within 2 feet of him. There wasn't a jellyfish in the water.
We all live in our own bubble of reality. My God.
Isn't that the truth?
That is the truth. And that
Yes.
is the truth we want everybody to get. Whatever you carry in your consciousness, it will manifest. So create beautiful things. Clean up the closet, get the skeletons out, say hello, what do you want, and dress them up. Move out of the stuff out of the shadows into the light, and then dance, 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 dance to the
Right.
voice. Tell me, I mean, I've heard people who've come to me who've done underwater U-boat stuff, and they film dolphins, and they told me exactly the same thing. They've seen teleportation right in front of their observation when they were filming stuff underwater. Now, I don't remember the details. I just remember that they were configuring, and they teleported one dolphin out, and it was suddenly gone off the camera, and then it reappeared
Right.
later. So these kinds of stories, you only hear them from people who are open-minded enough to consider the possibility. I mean, a normal scientist would not be able to see it or acknowledge it or even share it. We have another lady on this talk who talks about hybrids and extraterrestrials, and that I share a story about missing time and how we live on a planet where we are able to communicate with dimensional beings depending on where we're open and what we wish to communicate with, what we're opening our hearts to. Well, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that is a powerful, powerful story. So you were literally out of sight, gone, and then the dolphins came and got you. But you felt the entire time as if you were physically there, right? You didn't have a blink or anything missing.
Everything was normal to me. Completely normal. One of the things that I've noticed when the dolphins take me in and out of time and space, though, is that everything else around me slows down.
Mm.
But I'm still in normal time and space. I wrote a article for Fate magazine. It's on my website called "Glitches in the Matrix."
Okay.
That tells about some of the adventures in time and space that the dolphins have taught me how to do. Because once you connect in with your higher self, your God self, and your star self, you're also multidimensional.
Yeah.
And you'll have more and more of these kinds of experiences. But it's fun. Just don't take anybody that doesn't know about it with you, because they tend to get upset and scared and mad.
Yeah.
So that is one thing I've learned, that I'm kind of like Aunt Agnes. I know the drill, I know how to do it, but I don't have real good control yet.
Uh-huh.
So heads up warning on that one.
Okay, right. Well, when you take us on a 5-minute journey, I think we'll be safe, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, good, good, good,
Absolutely.
good, good, good. Well, it is fascinating to hear people spread the consciousness around the world that really the sky is the limit. So is there another story? I mean, that was a fabulous story in terms of, dolphins saved your life. Dolphins took you to the shore and said, okay, now it's safe for you to go, when somebody else could witness it. It wasn't just you having your own fantasy journey. It's somebody else watched all these different events.
Oh no, there's always witnesses. They make sure of it.
Yeah.
Because they kind of know me, and they know that I'm a rubber meets the road kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
And I want proof. And so they make sure that when I have these kinds of experiences, there's usually somebody else around that can verify it with me and for me.
Right. Yep. And that's exactly what I do. That's what the only thing I'll put out is where I can verify something, or where, and it's also absolutely true. I mean, that's something that I think as authors of the most outrageous things, we have a responsibility to the readers who read with a trusting heart. And then, I have read books where people make stuff up, but I have a bullshit detector, but it's like, that's why I have dedicated myself to telling the truth, because it doesn't help me if people say, yeah, I had all these beings appear to me. I mean, if that's made up, but the way he described how he smelled the grass really was convincing. That's how I could tell the difference. And, I feel like honoring the truth is so important, so that people who trust, let's say a writer, can really say, well, if she did that, I can do that. And so many people then are inspired to make their own, what do you call it? Auto magic?
other magic experiences.
Yeah. So on a daily basis. Um,
Well,
Tell me another story.
one
Yes, go ahead.
of the things one of the things that the dolphins have explained to me is that as teachers and examples of the new energies that are coming in, that we can talk about it all day long, and
Right.
that's really good. But dolphins are very experiential.
Yes.
They want you, the person that we're teaching, to have experiences that verify it for them. And they
Yeah.
will always provide that.
Awesome.
So, we can talk all day
So
long
let's do something.
and we can tell about all these fabulous experiences, but until someone else experiences or can see it or can feel it or can touch it or can benefit by it,
Yeah.
then we just got a good story.
Right.
So conveying it in a way that other people get it is so important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how they teach us, is through experience.
So let's go do some.
All righty then. So we are going to make a beautiful bubble. We're
Okay.
going to do a bubble exercise, and then I'm going to run through a quick clearing for everybody so they can get this little teeny sample of what I do.
All right.
So we're going to create a bubble in between our hands, and we're going to make that bubble bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it goes from the top of our head to the bottom of our feet. And we're going, for every single person that's watching this video, we're going to connect that bubble directly to source. And we're going to connect source directly into our heart. We're going to ask each person's highest guides and masters to please step into the bubble now. And all negative energies, thought forms, beliefs, anything that is limiting to that person for this moment will step outside that bubble now. And I want you to say to yourself, in this moment, I am safe. In this moment, I am safe. Just breathe that in for a moment. Safety and the love. Now we're going to ask each person's highest guides and masters that all of their frequencies are restored to optimum intensity and configuration for the greatest health and well-being of that person. And we're going to realign all your chakras, all your energy systems with source. So just take a minute and let's just do this realignment. We're going to bring in the whales of abundance, the joy of the dolphin, and the light of the ocean. And just feel into that. So the last thing that I'm going to ask and request on behalf of every single person that views this video is that they, in the next 24 hours, receive in the physical a gift from Spirit that verifies that this indeed was done in joy and love and abundance. And so it is.
Mm. Mm. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yummy, huh?
Wow, what a depth of perceptions in such a short amount of time. I hope everybody had their own allowance of the light coming in, because it's in the creating the space that it becomes real.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, I leave this open to you to share. You've talked about, you've written children's book series. Have you included some techniques in there of how to bring this into family life? Or do you have now any techniques or ideas how parents can bring the burgeoning children into a higher consciousness?
Wow, children already have higher consciousness. We just teach them not to have it. Um, the whole entire book is of Bubbles and Billy Sandwalker. First of all, let me tell you how it was created.
So let's hear the
After
title again: Bubbles and Beliefs.
Bubbles, and Billy Sandwalker. And it's about
Bubbles
a little
and
boy,
Billy Sandwalkers. Okay.
who doesn't feel like he fits in, and he doesn't know who he really is, and he feels like he's just a little bit autistic. And it talks about who the dolphins really are, and then the dolphins take him on a journey under the sea and teach him who he really is. And a lot of it mentions the bubbles and being how to step in and out of the bubbles. And then they take him to the back to land, and he gets to share with everybody else what he's learned. And it's about animal communication. And it's not preachy,
Yes.
but for those who can see it, the lessons go throughout the entire book, and there's no bad guy in the book. Now, on my school age version, I've actually got the bubble exercise written out in form, and I've also got another part that is dolphin rules for shark pools. That actually give tenets of living and how to avoid conflict and how to resolve conflict.
Cool.
But each one of the books is a more simplified version of the original ones. But there's nothing overt in the whole entire book, but it talks about how to communicate with angels and how the angels are connected in with the oceans and how we can use that to help the ocean animals and each other.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I think a lot of it still rings true for children. Like a lot of children have that.
And adults.
Yes, and adults. But for children, it's a natural. Sometimes they have fantasies about underwater creatures and beings. They may have been there themselves in past incarnations, and they are still, or they came to Earth, and they will, as an adult, be one of those people helping those creatures or beings or states of consciousness. So that's awesome. How many books are in that series?
Well, the one, Bubbles and Billy Sandwalker, is the one for ages 10 and up, and it's actually for adults.
Yes. Yes.
Then I've got the school age version that is Billy and Bubbles, which is for ages kindergarten to third grade, and I've got that in Spanish now
As well. Nice.
and English. And then I've got Bubbles the Dolphin, which is for the little ones, which is a big, huge copy. And all of them have 42 illustrations in them. So they don't have to actually read the words. They get the concepts through the pictures.
Pictures. Awesome.
And that one's for the little ones.
And tell me, where can people find your books?
They can find them on Amazon.com or on my website, which is, you'll have my website on there.
What we'll do is, right, no, we will have your website right here under the sales button. We will make sure we have the link to the books and a link to your website in there.
Yeah, so they can get it on Amazon or the website.
Right. So tell us about the special offer that you're making for all of us. I know you're going to give us 30% off on one of those, the first attunement session, right? But
right. What the attunement does is it allows you to manifest your higher self here on earth at this time in this body.
Okay.
So that you reach your highest potentials in this lifetime. You get to claim your sovereignty. You get to upgrade all your beliefs. And it actually shifts and changes your DNA. It clears all your karmic records and patterns, and it's a bunch of life skills that go along with that.
And that's the 90-minute. That's a 90-minute session.
Yes, the first 30 minutes are with me going through each of the different areas. Like, we go through every single area: physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional. Clearing every single thing, upgrading every single thing, upgrading all of our soul contracts, and claiming the beneficial energies that you've gotten throughout all time, space, and dimensions, which is really amazing. That in itself is worth the amount of money that you would pay. But then what we found was there's 4 safety gates in between us and our higher selves that were put into place when we were in our dances to keep us from injuring our higher vibrations and ourselves and our highest potential. So we open the safety gates and we bring your highest self into this body at this time, so that you reach your highest potentials, and all of the things that have held us back in our soul growth, we get to go past those. Cool. And to heal them and to manifest our greatest.
And what's the price?
It's really fun.
I know
it's
you're 222
for this summit. Normally I charge $333.
Awesome. Okay, so everybody who goes through this link down here will get it for $222, and normally it's $333. So it's only for the summit, only as long as the summit lasts. We don't have it after that. Right. It's valid until the 19th of October. So make sure you get it during that time period. You can set it up for any time later. You can set the appointment according to with both your schedules, but you have to have clicked and purchased it in the next until the 19th. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I'm really excited. Everybody who's gone through this program is just absolutely ecstatic and manifesting miracles. It will truly, truly change your life.
Awesome. And you know what is great is to work with someone who's seen so much in terms of confirmation, who so much asks the universe like you do to get the proof in the pudding, to see the rubber hit the road, as you put it. Cool. So we will be sure that everything will be up and running. And then I have a question for you. When you, for manifesting your mate that you currently are with, and people are always interested in that, and you said you already had studied all the techniques about manifesting. What are some of the nuts and bolts for manifesting according to your experience?
Loving yourself. That is the biggest thing. Loving yourself, and you will manifest your mate. And being very specific, like, this is the second time I have manifested a soulmate in this lifetime. The mistake that I made with the first one is that I didn't put a time limit on it. I didn't tell the universe I wanted it for the rest of my life.
Right.
And 3 years after I met him, he died of cancer.
Mm.
I have never regretted 1 minute that I had with him. Not for a second, because he taught me so much about a healthy relationship and what a relationship could be, and all of the best things that could possibly go on in a relationship. And my first response after he died was, well, lightning doesn't strike twice. Well, after about 3 or 4 years, I went, it's kind of like the sailboat. If I manifested this
Yep.
kind of relationship one time, I can do it again.
Yeah.
So again, I sat down very carefully and wrote down exactly what I wanted in a soulmate and a partner. Highest on it was greatest harmony and compatibility. Doing it for the rest of my life this time.
Mm.
And really silly things. I mean, I put everything down. I want him to be just as comfortable in sandals as he is in cowboy boots.
Mm-hmm.
Things that do matter to me.
Right.
Support my work unconditionally.
Right.
And then I just sat back, burnt the list, and loved myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't care when he came in,
Right.
as long as he was perfect for me.
Yeah.
And he was on his way down to the coast. He wasn't even stopping by the bar that night. I'd already gotten all upset, had an attitude, and was getting ready to go home, and was sitting there smoking my last cigarette beside an ashtray. And he walks in, and I knew.
Wow.
The moment I laid eyes on him, I knew. It was like, and he walks up to me and he goes, "How you doing, darling?" I said, "I'm doing fine." And he goes, "I've been waiting on you."
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I said, "Well, what took you so long?" That was our first conversation.
Yeah.
And it's just been amazing. We've been together almost a year. He's asked me to marry him.
Yeah.
And we are so compatible. It's just like amazing. So even if you've already manifested your soulmate and the person that you thought was going to be with you for the rest of your life, there's more than one. We're in soul groups.
Yep. Yep.
It doesn't have to be just one. So don't limit yourself. And I mean, I'm 60 years old and I've manifested another soulmate who's just making me so happy. It's just stupid.
Right.
So never give up.
Cool. So you feel, for example, it's with both your husbands, you made a list. You wrote down everything that really matters to you, values, and for all the elements of your life and support and values you really want.
As specific as possible. As specific as possible. And one of the things that and I worked on myself a lot at the same time, because you can manifest the greatest person in the whole world, and if you're not ready for him, you're going to kick him to the curb.
Yay. Okay, let's hear that one.
You're not going to be able to recognize it. Yeah, you're not going to be able to recognize it. So you have to do your homework for yourself, too.
To be able to recognize it. Exactly. Yeah. So that is so true, that we have to be at the vibration where we want to live. I mean, we can't hope that somebody else is going to lift us up like a damsel in distress. It's like we have to. Yep. Yeah, we have to be in the vibration.
If
we have a little delay going.
I know. Well, it's called the law of attraction, and you can't attract what you're not.
Right. Right. So, and whatever
to help their relationship.
Right. And what we subconsciously are holding within ourselves sends out signals as well. So it's the best thing to go within, to take courses or take trainings or use tools that help us transform negative blockages into positive transformational power tools.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because so many people say, I'm trying to manifest this and that, it hasn't happened. It's like, or some people say, I found my soulmate, but he doesn't know it yet. It's like, well, okay, so you both have to do some homework.
Not so much.
No, you have to do some homework. You have to do some homework. No, it is powerful. You get it. When you have proven to yourself you can make one manifestation, the second one comes easier, the third one comes even easier.
Oh, I hope there's not going to have to be a third one.
No. I don't mean
Oh
third.
my
Third.
goodness.
You've already manifested like so many things. You know.
That was a joke.
Okay, that was not meant towards your relationship. That means, the penny, the quarter, the sailboat, the
Oh, I
house,
know.
the husband, the second husband. It's like you build your belief, you build your trust over time. So when you see proof,
And you build your confidence.
that's it. Yep. Do you feel that confidence and belief have a huge aspect to play in manifesting abilities?
Absolutely. Because you can, I would say the three most important things in manifesting things is gratitude,
Yep.
first of all, confidence, second of all, and belief. Those
Mm-hmm.
three things, they are absolute key
Yep.
in being able to manifest things.
Yeah.
And
And
if you don't have any one of those three things, then the stool's going to fall over and it's not going to happen.
we don't want to say that. But how do
it's going to be harder.
Okay. How do people develop this faith? How do they build it? It's an elusive power, right?
Well, not really, because once you start the process and I always ask for a physical manifestation of what I'm asking for, even if it's little bitty.
Okay.
And I ask my guides and my angels and my masters. There's a book out. It's called, oh my goodness, MC Squared.
Yeah.
And Energy Squared. And she gives you a series of exercises. And one of the things that she tells you is always ask for a physical manifestation within 24 to 48 hours and then sit back and wait. Do it as an experiment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as you do the little things and you get that confirmation back from spirit,
Yes.
then try something else and get that experiment.
Yes.
And you start building confidence that way. And it's not a big leap from faith to absolute confidence.
Right. Or confidence to faith.
Being able
Right.
to manifest these things.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Either one.
Yep.
Either one.
Yep. Powerful. I mean, that is a really good advice, really solid. If everybody would just go home and practice, make small things happen, ask for the proof in the pudding, ask spirit to give you the results so that you see it and so you go like, it did happen. And then you build your expanse of what you're capable of, and your belief is growing with your confidence equally.
It's like a straw. It's like a straw. The first time you blow through it, the straw is little bitty. And then the more air you get going through that straw, the wider the straw gets, and the more air goes through it, and the easier it gets. And all of a sudden, it's like you're manifesting this miraculous life every day, every minute.
Yes.
And it's joyful.
Awesome.
It's absolutely joyful.
Yeah.
So we are meant to be these things. It's not an accident that we're learning these kind of skills.
Right.
This is where we're supposed to be living from.
Yes. And when we're capable
and this is where we're all working.
Yes, go ahead.
This is what we're all working towards too, is being these conscious manifestors.
Right.
And not just on a small level, but huge.
Exactly. So what is something that you could suggest we could do with our consciousness for global improvement? Pre-envisioning, or do you have something going, or have you done any groups where you've led that, or any suggestions you could guide us in the pre-creating a beautiful future, heaven on earth? Or
loving yourself every single day. And what I do is I send love through the grids.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who receives that love. I don't care how they receive that love. I just blow love through the grid every single day. And every single day, I thank God and I thank Spirit and I thank everything that's going on, that we are making progress every single day. I see it as we've already done it.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to make the steps to get there.
Yeah.
And right now in the United States, we're going through a big healing period.
Mm-hmm.
All the darkness has come to light. We see it clearly. Not something to get mad at. It's something to embrace and heal.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that too. But
Yeah.
just being grateful and joyful for everything just ripples through the universe. And each person that is doing this and practices radical joy, which I do, is adding to the collective of being
Yeah.
the ascended beings and masters that we all are.
Yep. Perfect.
So keep on keeping on.
Awesome. Good. So let's dedicate
As the
ourselves.
dolphins,
Yes. Go ahead.
as the dolphins say, just keep swimming.
Keep on and keeping on. That is the persistence and perseverance are a big aspect of making it to success. Whatever you do, whatever it is, you keep on keeping on and you will get there. Yeah. So we'll be sending out love into the grid, envisioning and being grateful for the opportunities that we're being given rather than bemoaning what is happening, going, look, here, a better world is coming. Expect a miracle.
Well, a better world is already here.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like when we see the darkness, let's say in political arenas showing up, it's like it is the sign of a transformation that will usher in the next level of capacity, the next level of light. Is like seeing the potential within the moment rather than projecting the negative potential. Seeing the
Absolutely. And, just random acts of kindness. Going around just doing random acts of kindness. I mean, there is so much more light than darkness right now.
Yeah.
It's amazing if you get off the television and just look around.
Yeah.
I mean, we've just had heroes for days
with
saving other people in Houston.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what we need to focus on.
That gives me chills. Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I learned from that solar eclipse this year. We're living here on an island right now. I mean, that's where our home base is. We travel a lot, but we were here for the eclipse. We had 98% full coverage, right? So here we are trying to sit around. Well, it just got, duskish, not even dark, duskish. There was a little bit of, and I'm like looking with my little glasses at the sun, and there's a tiny sliver of light, tiny. I tried to photograph it with my with my iPhone. It didn't work. It was blaring sunlight. So it taught me really the smallest fraction of intense light is so much more powerful than any amount of darkness. The sun was being covered up by 98%, and yet it was daylight around us. So
indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So all small acts of kindness have a huge effect and result.
Yep. It's just like ripples.
Yep. So we'll be bubbles and ripples.
Right out through the grid.
Yep. We'll be bubbles and ripples. And thank you so much for taking your time to share with us, take us on a journey, and inspire us with your stories and your amazing capacity to communicate with the inner dimensions and bringing forth provable results. That story that you told us about the dolphins undoing with their snouts the sound equipment underwater, and that was what you heard them tell you inwardly and what then was outwardly confirmed. Stunning. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your beautiful dolphin world and part of the Dream Big Summit. This is amazing. And there's going to be so much good come out of this that you just are not even going to believe it. I can't wait to see it.
Awesome. Yes, yes, yes. Everybody spread the word. Share that link. If you have an all access pass, let other people watch it. Thank you so much.